Do you have a sense that. Do you have a sense of home? Do you have a sense that you're at home or moving away from home or moving towards home? In time and space? Do you think oh, when I get home, blah, 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 blah. When I get home. Or, do you have this sense of time of here's this chunk of time where I'm going to be away from home, and then afterwards I'm going to come back home? Or, you're on a road trip or somewhere, and you're I'm moving, away from home, and then, you're on the way back, and it's I'm going home, and it's you have this sense of here I am in the world, and everything is not safe and secure, and I'm heading to safety and security. Because for me, there is that sense, and I think it is there for everyone, pretty much, most people. Home. And home is where some satisfaction lies. Some of the time, a lot of the time, you're outside and it's winter, and you're walking home, and it's I'm cold, I'm uncomfortable, I want to get home to my heater, to my fireplace, and then relax on my bed. And so it's always this kind of even the definition of home, or the term home, it's it implies a kind of security and safety, and kind of a ground zero, that's where you reside, that is kind of your foundation, and that's always where you come back to. But what if you felt home everywhere you go, and there was no sense of moving away from a home or moving towards a home, or in this time I'm gonna be home, or in this time I'm gonna be away from home? What if everywhere you went was home? And you felt that security and that safety everywhere you went. And then there would no longer be that aversion to reality when you're not at home, when you're, for an example, in the cold, resisting the cold and the uncomfortableness of it. If that coldness and that uncomfortableness was your home, Or we could switch it up and basically say the same thing, but what if you stopped having a sense of any home? Or what if you stopped stopped fabricating this sense of a home, and there was no such thing as a home. You eradicated that sense of a home. Everywhere you went, you had no home. You were just a fucking nomad, even if you were at your quote unquote home, you know. Because that's another thing that you can do is that, like, when you're sitting in bed, because I think, like, a lot of the time, you know, when we're in our home, it's you know, we take it for granted and we think it's ours, and the things in it are ours. This is my bed, this is my belongings. We take it for granted, but, you know, if we stopped fabricating this sense of a home and this sense of possession, belongings, ours, if we stop fabricating that, we would be a hell of a lot more grateful, you know, instead of just like, oh yeah, here I am, it's my bed, my home, whatever. Like, it would be like, damn, I'm in this place, like, this isn't mine, like, I'm just a visitor. Like, everywhere you go, you would just be visiting. You'd be in your room and it would be like, you wouldn't perceive it as it being your room or the things in it as yours. It would be just like this B&B, you know, just this hotel that you're just visiting, you know. And you wouldn't be attached to it, you know. Some interesting things to think about. Easier said than done, but now, not only can we treat, you know, our actual home or house as a home, but we can treat a lot of things as home. Like people, our family and our friends, all our relationships, our loved ones, we can treat them as a kind of home. You know, it's like if you've got like a partner and you haven't seen them for ages, and you reunite with them, it's like, you know, there's that feeling of home, there's that feeling of safety and security. But the nature of reality is that it's always changing. Moment by moment. Nothing is permanent. And so how can anything actually be secure? You see, security is, it's an illusion of the mind. The mind wants to turn something that's impermanent into something that's permanent and stable. But there is no stability or security. That doesn't actually exist. Other than a mental impression, a mental construct, a fabrication. And it's very fucking hard to see that is what's happening. It's hard to see that reality is changing moment to moment and there is no stability. And it's hard to see that everything's impermanent and everything is fragile. Anything could change in any moment. You see, what would actually happen? Like, I don't, like, whoever's watching this, I don't fucking know, like, your life, but as an example, like, imagine that, say you've got like a partner, right? Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but like, say you've got this loved one and you're hanging out with them, and then, you know, you say goodbye for the day, you're going to see him tomorrow or whatever. you go back to your own house, right? You go back to your so you know, like this is just a thought experiment. This is just a thought that I had a couple of days ago. But yeah, imagine like you live with your parents and you're just at your partner's house for a bit and you've just said goodbye for the day. You go back to your parents' house where you live, you know. And then, you know, imagine coming to, you know, what you call home. Imagine coming to your home and seeing that your home is ablaze, it's on fire. Everything, like this home where you have resided for so long, slept every night, and with all your belongings and activities and all this kind of stuff gone in flames, burnt to the ground, nothing's left. And then you're like, holy shit, my house is fucked up. Damn, my home's gone. Oh, but at least I've got my loved ones, my family, my friends. At least I've got, you know, people. You know, that's what's important. Like, yeah, belongings, like, and safety and security in this warm, cozy house and a bed. Like, that's nice, but it's not as important as family and friends. But then imagine, you know, coming to your home and there's like police and the fire brigade and whatever. And you get told that, you know, your parents died in the fire. I mean, that would fuck you up immediately, wouldn't it? Like, you don't have a house and you don't even have your fucking parents that were in the house. And that's a big homely thing that you had for so long, and you never thought of the possibility of that just vanishing in a fucking blink of a second, a blink of an eye, you know? You take it for granted. Here I am in my house with my parents, we're having a good time. This is home, I'm safe, I'm secure, this is nice. You know, in one moment, all of that can be taken away, and that sense of home is gone. And then imagine like, oh, it's like, oh shit, that's gone. You know, I need to be, you know, I need someone or something, you know. Do you know how much that would fuck you up? Your house and your parents just gone in a moment. You need somebody. And imagine, like, so you go back to your partner. Well, now imagine that your partner died somehow. You know, and like, I'm not going through like what kind of emotions you'll be feeling and all this shit, but I mean, you kind of like, you kind of get what I'm saying. Like just talking about this, you know what kind of emotions that would be fucking arising here. You've got fucking nobody, right? It's like, well, I've got friends. Just imagine, right? That now in this situation, you go and find just somebody or a place or whatever. Imagine that everybody that you've ever interacted with you just died, you know, like it's not realistic. Like, this isn't realistically what could happen, you know, but just imagine that this is what could happen. That your home's gone, your family's gone, your beloved's gone, your friends, your acquaintances, anyone you've ever fucking met. Like, what would that actually feel like? What would that be like? What the fuck would you do? Like, are you willing, like, like, who are you then? What the fuck are you then? And thinking about this, it's in no way like it's in no way like the goal of thinking about this in no way is a goal to make you feel depressed or nihilistic or or like depressed or whatever. Like, the goal of this is to make you feel grateful and alive, because who are you without like hinging your sense of self on who you know, and like yourself in relation to other people, and yourself in relation to places, and yourself in relation to the things that you do and shit. Like, who are you beneath all that? And I don't think a lot of people want to know who they are beneath all that, because that's like nobody. It's like nothing, like it's the thing is like in this scenario that I just talked about, where you had basically everyone you ever knew and your home destroyed in an instant, right? You would still be alive, right? You still exist, but you would feel so lonely. There would be no one in the world that knows you, no one in the world that understands you, no one in the world that knows your story, knows your personality or whatever. You would feel incredibly lonely. Well, the truth is that is you now. You see, like, that's who you really are. You are alone. You already are alone. You already are that. You see, because like, imagine like you're just sitting alone in a park. What's the difference between sitting alone in a park and knowing that, all your friends and family and your house is still in working order, alive and whatever, and knowing that everyone you know in your home is destroyed? What's the difference there? You see, as a matter of direct experience, apart from the thoughts, nothing changes there. You see, you're still alone. You're sitting on a bench in a park alone. The only thing that tells you that the people that you love are still alive and that your home is still fine is your mind. Like, that's just a story. That's just like, it doesn't actually change the fact that you are like connected with anything or home, or that you have a home, like that's a fabrication of the mind. Like, in that moment, you are alone. You see, imagine that you're sitting alone on a park and you're like, oh, it's time for me to go home and, have some dinner with my family. And that's how you are perceiving reality. And it's like, yeah, there I am, going home to have some dinner with my family. And you feel very secure and very safe, very comfortable. But you see, that reality that you're creating in your mind gets completely shattered if you get home and you see it's ablaze and you see that your family are dead. You see, now in that moment where you're sitting in the park bench, imagining like the future of like having dinner with your family, you see that doesn't actually exist as a reality, because you don't know if you'd like, that's just in your mind. I really don't know if I'm making myself clear here, but what I'm trying to say is that you've always been alone, and you have always had nothing. And there has never ever been stability or security or safety. There's been the illusion of it. And it's hard to break this illusion, because in order to break the illusion, it seems to me that you actually have to go through that grieving process as if it actually happened, as if your whole world got taken away from you. Maybe I'm mistaken here, but I don't know. Like, it seems that, if you want the truth of reality, and if you want, if you want the truth of reality, like, you have to let go of your world. And who you think you are. You're not actually letting go of the world, you're letting go of what you think the world is, and letting go of who you think you are. You see, you're not actually letting go of the world, you're not actually letting go of you. You're letting go of what you think the world is and what you think you are. I don't know. Anyway, I just kind of want to stop thinking that there is some kind of thing called home, and a thing called safety, because they're not real. Sometimes I'm like going for a walk, and then I'm like, okay, time to turn back, time to go back home. And then I think like, what am I going to do when I'm home? It's like I'm still going to feel the same way. Like there's this like some kind of belief within me, like it's like, oh, it's time to go home. Like it's um, um, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but like it's this sense of like thinking like, well, hang on a minute, like why do I need to go home? Like why can't I just sit down on a bench outside somewhere and feel at home there? I don't know.